Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be doing Bookratmisty's latest book chat, which is books for our younger selves. And this basically means, or I took it to mean, books that we feel that we would have appreciated more if we had read them or been able to read them when we were younger. And I'm just going to be doing mostly books that I've read semi-recently, as in kind of like this year. Most of them, with a couple exceptions. The first book, or really it's a series of books and kind of a spin-off series as well, would basically be any of Rick Riordan's middle grade books, so the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and the continuation, Heroes of Olympus, as well as the Kane Chronicles series. Well, I did really enjoy pretty much all of his books, especially Percy Jackson, the earlier books, and actually for some reason the later books of the Kane Chronicles. I felt like, if I really actually was, a middle grader, if that's even a term, if I was in the target audience for these books, I would really love them. Kane Chronicles, for me especially, it kept losing steam as the series went on. I really loved the first book in the trilogy, and then the last two, especially the last and third one. And I mentioned that in my video review. Like, I don't know, I felt like I've kind of grown out of this in some way. So I felt like I really would have loved those a lot more, like 10 or 15 years ago. The next one is also another series of books that I read this year, and it's the Darkest Powers trilogy by Kelly Armstrong. This one, it is a young adult book series, but it's kind of geared towards the younger, so to speak, young adult audience. The main character is only 15, and I felt like if I had been around 14, 15 when I read it, I would have thought they were amazing. Other young adult books that I feel similarly towards would be Clarity by Kim Harrington, which I just read last week or so. I loved Veronica Mars in high school, which actually I think it only came out when I was already a junior or senior in high school. I think I was still a junior in the first season, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't exactly remember. But if I was obsessed with Veronica Mars, and Veronica Mars is all over this book, aside from the supernatural influence. But the main character, Claire, she's you can see how Veronica Mars inspired her character and the influence on the story, and this would have been an amazing book for me to read while I was into watching, or shortly after I watched that show, especially the first season, because that one was best. Another series, the Artemis Fowl series by Owen Colfer. This one actually, the series began while I was a little bit younger, and I was in the Harry Potter heyday into that. So I wish I had thought to pick up the books at that time, because I still enjoyed them now. Just a little something was lost by me being older. Shadows on the Moon by Zoe Marriott. I just randomly thought of this book because I read it fairly recently, sometime this summer. I don't exactly remember when, July maybe? Who cares anyway? But it is there's a big, ancient Japanese influence in this book, and I was a huge Japanophile as a teen. I mean, you can still see I've got Sailor Moon manga and Sailor V above my head over there, and I've actually got a huge collection of Sailor Moon stuff at home. Maybe I should actually one day do a video about that and show just how crazy I was about that series. But I was a huge Japanophile, anime, manga, and then later live action dramas and movies and that kind of thing. And this would have been a perfect book for me. It was a good book, but I had issues mostly with the romance, like I always do with books. I always have problems with the romance. It's never good enough for me. So probably if I was younger, I don't think I would have been quite so harsh and judgmental. Maybe, who knows, I might even be wrong. Maybe I was always a bitch like I am now. But okay, let's just move on. Next one is Anne of Green Gables by Ella Montgomery. If I had read this as a kid, I don't know, maybe because really what stood out to me is like how universal the childhood feelings and that kind of thing is, like, despite being, you know, over 100 years ago. Like, all of Anne Shirley's like thoughts and imagination, like, wow, I used to think the same kind of crazy stuff when I was a kid. So like, kids really were not all that different back then. Next one, the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. I do find aspects of the series enjoyable, but the main characters and the romance, like, drives me up the wall. And again, I feel like when I was younger and more immature, I probably would not have noticed these things, maybe, or that might just be wishful thinking on my part. Same thing, The Iron King by Julie Kagwa. I kind of same thing with the Mortal Instruments series. I felt like I would have been able to really love and appreciate that book a lot more when I was younger as it was when I read it earlier this year. Just kind of like, it was alright. And another random one I just thought of and remembered, this is the last book I read in 2011, so kind of slipped my mind, but Haunting Violet by Alexandra Harvey was young adult, but really geared towards the young adult set. And this book had a lot of like really errors in it and like historical inaccuracies, just stupid things like titles and, you know, with the whole aristocracy, nobility system, whatever, I can't even say it, before I, you know, learned so much about the whole like title system from being obsessed with, you know, period dramas and classic British lit. If I had read that as a kid, I wouldn't have noticed any of the errors, and I would have been able to really, hopefully, love the book. So yeah, that wraps up this book chat. I'll see you guys later.